presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Up and in. 1.4 to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
Welcome into the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider on a Tuesday afternoon. Jordan Brenner in hosting for Joey Mack as he continues to enjoy time with his family. And, we have a great show here today. We just got back from practice, new practice schedule this week, and we heard from Junior Adams, some student athletes, some wide receivers, and we'll be sure to get to those interviews later on. I do, though, want to remind all those Duck fans out there who are excited for a big basketball game tonight between the New York Liberty and the Chicago Sky. Remember last week when we were talking about that heroic performance from Sabrina Ionescu in Game 1? And I said it was significant because in the WNBA, as a lower seed, you play on the road the first two games of the best 2 of 3. So that performance in Game 1 earned Sabrina a chance at home to go on to the next round against the Chicago Sky. That is at 6 o'clock tonight. Be sure to tune in. A great chance for a Duck great to do something pretty awesome at the next level. We have Jody Sykes in with us here on Athletic Director Tuesday, Chief Compliance Officer.
Hello.
Thank you for being here with us.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to talk some NIL, some compliance with you, some of the changes. But first, your thoughts on Sabrina.
Yeah.
Because for me, at least working collegiate athletics, I think one of the more rewarding things is to watch them lead professional careers afterwards and see that success at the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, watching Sabrina and Ruthie Hebert tonight,
Right.
are a big fun part of what we get to do. We get to see them go on to those professional ranks. But for me, especially in the compliance world, because we deal with academics and we deal with life outside, oftentimes of athletics, I enjoy actually seeing some of our student athletes in their professional careers as well.
Right.
So we've got these student athletes that are playing professionally in their sport, Kayvon Thibodeau and Marcus Mariota and hundreds of others. We've got the baseball guys and softball women and, just all over the board. Right now, obviously, we're focused on Sabrina and Ruthie and Satu. But, we've got student athletes that are getting into medical school. And we've got student athletes that are they're posting their careers as, physical therapists or dentists. And I'm focused on the medical for some reason. I'm not sure why. But, or, finance and everything else. They're just all over the board. And so it's really fun to me to see them not only play professionally, if that's what their dreams are, but watch them walk across that graduation stage with that diploma, seeing what their career and their life is going to be like outside of athletics as well. Even for the ones that go on to have a professional NFL or WNBA career, right. Eventually they're looking for something in the real world, right? And so, it's fun to see those students do that, and it's fun to watch all of our student athletes come back and maybe I haven't been following them, and I'm like, oh, so what are you doing? They're like, oh yeah, I'm working for such and such firm, and I'm doing this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, And so those stories are fun. It's fun to reconnect with those student athletes, especially as you've gotten to know them while they were here in a variety of capacities.
Yeah,
so.
that's really cool. I'm glad you mentioned something like that. Because Oregon, while so much is said about how the Ducks can prepare an athlete for a professional career on the field, I do like that you shine a light on how Oregon can prepare these athletes to do something off the field too, and I think that's something unique about Oregon as well.
I completely agree. We have such a variety of majors here at the university, and we're going to talk about NIL and how that's changed the landscape and the variety of things. But the students are still student athletes. These folks, for now at least, are still focused on they have to go to school, they have to go to the classroom and do the work, and they do their sport as well. And sometimes the focus is blurred, and we know that there's a lot going on in their lives, but a lot of our student athletes leave here with their degrees, and some of them leave here with 2 degrees, or in the case of Cam McCormick, maybe 3 degrees.
Is that a record?
I'm not sure, to be honest, but probably close. Yeah. I mean, and poor Cam, the reasons why he's here getting all those degrees. But Cam is utilizing his time wisely, right? He's not just sitting and taking random classes. He's pursuing multiple things and multiple avenues that will set him up for whatever he decides to do after he's done with his football career. So it's fun to see those stories and hear those stories of our student athletes as well.
And it's fun to hear, at least for me, just some of the modernization that goes into that, trying to optimize that student athlete experience both on the field and in the classroom as well. And it feels like every single year there's some new rules, regulations in that area that make that student athlete experience even better and set them up for success with whatever they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously the last 2 years have been weird, right? COVID and all of the changes that have been made and the online aspect of things and the different accommodations that have needed to be made. But, here at Oregon, we have always wanted to provide our student athletes with the most benefit that we can, right? So whether that was increasing meals as soon as we could increase meals, or continuing to have one of the best academic support units in the country with our JACO building and the facilities in the room and the space and the tutors and the advisors that are there to help our student athletes succeed in the classroom, teaching them to work and do it on their own, but providing them with the support that they need because their schedules aren't like the average student schedule, right? Even support on the road. Bringing a academic advisor on a lengthy road trip for some of our sports, right? Just that might be necessary to have study hall on the road, things like that, so that there is some of that balance. It doesn't always work out, right? But some of that balance to help them continue to pursue those academic dreams as well.
Chief Compliance Officer Jody Sykes joining us here on Duck Insider, Athletic Director Tuesday, and happy you're with us here on the show.
Thanks.
I wanted to mention the time we spent together this weekend.
For better or worse.
At Pape Field. No, it was for better. It definitely was not for worse. But it just got me thinking about all those different hats that you wear for this university, that level of love and dedication to the Ducks that you have. First of all, I want to compliment your PA style.
Thank you.
Believe me, when I was sitting there right with you, there are some intense moments where
chaotic.
There are 15, 16 things going on all at once, but you were able to handle that. But you do take that dedication in your work, and I think that's why people trust you with so many hats here, and you are a essential part of the Duck community.
Well, I appreciate that, Jordan. I don't know that that's entirely true, but I do appreciate it. I just appreciate the opportunities to do things that are outside of the world of compliance, right? Even early on in my career, I kept scorebook for volleyball and basketball when I was at a small school that you just didn't have the staff. And even here at Oregon, we do less with more. And I think our fans know that, but I don't know that the rest of the world knows that. We do less with more. We have a smaller football stadium, and we still, are national champions. And we do things, we just do less with more. And so that's where, during COVID, we had, especially that spring of, I think it was 21, right? We had all of our sports going on at the same time. The sports that should have been in the fall were in the spring, and the spring sports were in the spring too, right? So we had all of this going on at the same time, and the people that were normally doing PA or even what you all do with video and broadcasting and that kind of stuff, they just weren't available, right? We just couldn't spread. We were spread so thin. And so I had done some PA back filled in here even a little bit, but back earlier on in my career, I had done some PA. And so I just kind of started getting filled in as the backup. And then all of a sudden it became like a more permanent thing. And that spring I ended up doing soccer and lacrosse, and then continued to do those this past academic year, the 21-22 academic year. And now we're going to start branching out and getting some actual people with real PA and radio experience in there. But I really enjoy it. It's something completely out of the norm. And you're right. Sunday was a little chaotic. We had about 700 subs coming in at the same time, and we had injuries, and we couldn't see numbers. And, but that's part of the fun of the chaos of being in something that's just, it's quick moving, and we're just all over it. So it's super fun to do that. And I'm grateful to have been able to do that here and been given that opportunity here.
So I'll get your takes on the soccer team next segment. I also want to hear the latest in women's golf and beach volleyball as well, which you're very involved with.
Sure,
but
absolutely.
I do think we should hit on compliance. I think there are fans out there who are curious about what's new this year and what's on your desk right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Compliance is this ever-evolving space right now. We've got the Transformation Committee, we've got the Modernization Committee, which are both NCAA kind of staffed entities with folks from various universities that are trying to move things into the current times, right? So just about every month we're getting something that's different, something that changes, and it might be a change that our fans don't care about, right? But in my world, it's something that we still have to track on and change, or change our systems, or make sure the coaches are aware. So that's constant for us. A lot of the things have stayed the same in terms of, we meet with our student athletes once every fall, and then again in the spring as they leave for the summer. We have individual meetings with students as needed. Educate them on everything from drug testing to the transfer portal to ticketing, right? I mean, there's just a variety. It's about a 45-minute meeting. There's a lot that we go through with them. We meet with the coaches regularly on a monthly basis for about 20 to 30 minutes every month. We're just trying to keep everybody in the loop with, here's what's current, right? Here's what's going on in terms of the legislation. Here's what's changed. Here's what hasn't changed. Here's how campus can help you. Here's how the compliance office can help you. And so a lot of what we do is just keeping them hopefully on track. We've got a lot of new faces in a variety of our sports again this year, so we're trying to make sure they understand not only the University of Oregon policies and procedures, but Pac-12 and NCAA rules as well. And so we just, we're constantly keeping up. But in terms of the new, it's constantly shifting. But I don't know that there's actually anything that the fans might be interested in, except for maybe the NIL piece, which I think we're going to get to in a bit.
I think we will too. Let's get a break and then talk about NIL. And by the way, I think fans are interested in anything you have to say. So
well, thank you.
I wouldn't be concerned about that. Let's get a break. It's Duck Insider. Happy you're joining us. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Now's the time to visit your local Toyota dealer and find yourself in a stylish and fuel-saving RAV4, Corolla, or Camry, or climb behind the wheel of the rugged Tundra, Tacoma, and more. Toyota's national sales event is on. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Now's the time to visit your local Toyota dealer and find yourself in a stylish and fuel-saving RAV4, Corolla, or Camry, or climb behind the wheel of the rugged Tundra, Tacoma, and more. Toyota's national sales event is on. Toyota, let's go places.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is an important message from the Mine Safety and Health Administration. Mining fatalities, accidents, and injuries are preventable. Taking a minute to approach your task safely can protect you and your fellow miners from injury and death. Staying alert and focused can keep you safe. Do it safe. Do it right. Whether buckling a seatbelt or securing equipment, these quick safety measures can prevent injuries and fatalities. Take time. Save lives. For more resources, visit MSHA.gov.
Farming is dangerous. There's dangers all around us.
We go through safety training and try and do these things to make sure accidents don't happen.
You don't want to hit a gas pipe because that's your life. The other part of it is if you hit certain things, you're liable for it.
Farm Safe 811 starts with you. Always call 811 and wait for any underground lines to be marked.
Always keep safety in the back of your mind. Just stay humble.
For more information, go to farmsafe811.org.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, back here in the Country Financial Studio. It's Athletic Director Tuesday, and we're lucky enough to be joined by the Chief Compliance Officer, Jody Sykes, who we started talking about soccer. We'll get to soccer in a second. When we went to break, we were just starting to get into the conversation about NIL. And, well, I think fans would be interested in hearing about the changes in NIL. It's quite frankly changing how college sports operate. Some have opinions on it. I, for one, think that there are a lot of positives that it's bringing to the table.
Yeah, name, image, and likeness, and not to be confused with national letter of intent, just in case our fans put those two together, right?
Fewer and fewer are being confused by that by the day.
NIL versus NLI, right? But yeah, name, image, and likeness, NIL, is a new space for all of us, right? We have a year or so under our belt from July 1st of last year, and we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot about what it is doing to the landscape of college athletics. We've learned a lot about what it means means for the state of Oregon and how our rules and how our state laws affect what we're doing here at the university. We're also learning nationally that it's a bigger struggle than people thought it was going to be. So just a refresher for the fans, there's two big NCAA, kind of tenets that they're living by or in instructing us to enforce with our coaches and student athletes, and that is no recruiting inducements. So that means you cannot sign a name, image, and likeness deal. You cannot sign an NIL deal that says I have to go to Oregon or I have to go to X school to have this deal, right? Mm-hmm. And that also encompasses retention inducements in that if a student goes into the transfer portal, you can't entice them to stay at the school that they're at or go to another school by giving them an NIL deal, right? So when we're talking about recruiting inducements, it affects incoming as well as transfers related to, these NIL deals cannot be promised by a specific school. It gets really convoluted when some of these NIL deals are sponsored by or look to be paid for by donors, and we could have a whole show about that. So we're not going to get into that right now because we're going to leave that to the professionals to delve into. But essentially, whatever the piece of paper is that these students sign can't require them to go to a specific school. That's the one. The second is no pay for play. So in these NIL deals that these student athletes are signing at any institution across the country, it can't be paid based on goals scored or minutes played or games started or anything that's like that in terms of the pay-for-play realm of things, right? So we avoid those two things. And then the third piece is our state laws. And every state either has laws or doesn't. And that's where it gets really confusing, not only for our student athletes, but also for our fans, for our coaches. Every state is potentially different. Every state either has a different state law or maybe the state laws are similar, but it's being able to be played out in a different way.
Right.
And so from that perspective, it gets really, really confusing. That's the hardest part, I think, of what our office is doing right now is educating on the state laws. So to your original question, the change that happened July 1st of this year is that the Oregon state law was amended by Senate Bill 1505. And you can Google it and see the real language if you really want to go, look at all that legalese. But basically, it just opened up some additional opportunities for our educational entities here on campus to do more with our student athletes without being considered agents. Then there was also some royalty language in there that allows our student athletes to participate in jersey and trading card opportunities with NIL without having crossing any sort of state law off that checklist.
Well, I think it's so interesting with this new landscape in college sports. It feels like there's a lot of misinformation out there, and part of your job, I imagine, is educating the athletes on what exactly is possible and maybe even correcting those assumptions that some have made. The last thing that we want is for an athlete or somebody in the NIL space to be attacked for something that isn't exactly going on.
Absolutely. And you also have to remember that there's multiple sides to these stories, right? So what we're seeing in social media posts or what we're seeing on news stories might not be the whole picture. And even I have to be careful to say, look, it appears that what I'm seeing is not permissible, that it appears to be a recruiting inducement, but I don't have all the information, right? I don't have I don't have the actual contract in front of me. So I don't have the ability to actually assess that. And so we do ask that our fans and that the public proceed with caution because we don't know for sure what's actually happening. But those fall team meetings that I mentioned, we have a good 8 to 10 slides in those fall team meetings just about NIL and talking to them about the services that we provide and the benefits and the education and the things that we're trying to do for them from the University of Oregon to help them in this space because it's out there, it's happening. And we've seen a lot of our student athletes who want to take advantage really capitalize and go right after it. And we've also seen, we've got a portion of our student athletes, they don't want anything to do with it. They just want to be a student and an athlete and they will deal with NIL when they're done or not at all ever. And they're just not interested. So it really varies.
And that's okay, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's a lot to the bargain coming to the University of Oregon.
It's just another option, right?
Absolutely.
It's something else that for those that want to engage, it's something else that they can do. They don't have to, but it's at least available to them now where in the past, they were very restricted and couldn't do anything.
So outside of being a chief compliance officer, you're also a sport liaison to a couple sports, including women's golf and beach volleyball. And well, women's golf in particular is coming off maybe the most successful season in program history.
It is.
Derek Radley is humming along. What's new with that program? Are they continuing that momentum into the next season?
I would say Derek would tell you absolutely. He does everything possible to continue that momentum. I mean, once you have it, you don't want to go backwards, right? But you also know, just like with every team, you have different people, different personnel every year. So we do have 3 new incoming folks on the women's golf team, and I'm sure Derek will be able to tell you more about them when you have him on. But we were looking forward to those 3 additions. We did lose 2 of the student athletes. One was a senior and graduated, and the other has decided to finish after her junior year and go play professionally. So he did lose 2 off of his roster, but they're back here next week. Their meeting is next week. They go off to Minnesota, I think maybe 2.5, 3 weeks from now for their first tournament of the fall. They're looking forward to it. Derek and Monica are doing such an excellent job with recruiting and with their fans support and just with our student athletes. And you talk about student athletes. Those student athletes are all on track to graduate. They're all doing well in the classroom, and really focused on just getting those degrees in addition to playing golf for the University of Oregon. But yes, this past season was historic. It was definitely the best season we've ever had. Finished number 2 in the country, runners up only to Stanford. You can't beat that. And it was fun. It was a fun ride.
I will say, for those student athletes returning to Eugene next week, the greens are quick. It hasn't been raining, and I've been 3-putting a lot recently.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
Hey, if they need any counseling, right?
That's right.
I broke 100 last week.
Hey, there you go. All right.
Yeah.
I like it, Jordan. I like it.
Not bad. How about beach volleyball?
Yeah, beach volleyball won't report quite as early. They'll come in closer toward the end of September. And as I think most of our fans know, all of our beach student athletes are walk-ons, and so they're gonna come in and earn their spots and participate in that beach environment. We play out at Amazon Park. We have a couple courts out there that the city allows us to use, and Jason Dillard and Janice Harrer are doing a great job with that program as well, trying to make it a standalone program. It used to, when we first started beach here, as I think many know, it was kind of just this combined, we'll feed off of indoor and use those indoor student athletes to fill our beach program. And now we are almost entirely separate. There are very few student athletes who actually cross over. And Jason and Janice are working very hard to continue that and make sure that that's a continued growth of our program. We've got goals for them in terms of scholarships and facility, just like we do with all of our other programs, and we're going to continue to work through those. But it's been fun to kind of take on a new sport this past year and learn a little bit more about, I've always known golf. I played golf growing up, but learning a little bit more about beach and what the nuances are and some of the, tricks of the trade, and the 3 factors, as Jason likes to put it, are wind, rain or sleet, and temperature, right? So one of my first tournaments that I went to on the road, I drove up to Corbin up in Salem, and we had all 3. So we had freezing temperatures, we had rain and sleet, and we had a whole bunch of wind. Jason says if you can get 2 of the 3, then usually it's an okay day. Certainly if you can get none, it's even a better day, right?
Sure.
But that particular tournament will forever live in my memory because we had all 3 and it was miserable. And they were out there playing in it, and bless their hearts. But yeah, it was fun. It's been fun to learn a new sport.
Yeah, pretty cool to be a part of the growth of that program. All right, last thoughts on Oregon soccer. A 1-0-1 start to the season, a tough road game at Gonzaga on Saturday as well. And, Graham Mabel's got a lot of depth, it seems, this year. A lot of new faces who are getting an opportunity. What'd you see from the first weekend of play?
Yeah, that's been the big thing, actually, that I did see on this first weekend was I remember when we were doing PA, last year, and I was looking at the sideline and going, wow, he doesn't have anybody over there that he can even bring in. There were just no bodies. And so it's been nice to see, at least in these first couple of games, that he does actually have a plethora of folks on the, I shouldn't say plethora, but a few folks on the sideline, that he can actually bring in to the game, and that he does have some substitutions available, and that we expected great things from Graham. You all have seen his work in just the short time that he's been here. He's been doing great things, and so I fully expected them to continue to rise. They've been fun to watch and fun to call, but that was the biggest thing that I noticed was just that there are actually more actual available bodies over there on that sideline.
Yeah, program's just getting better and better. Talk about momentum for some of those other programs. I think that exists at Pat Bay Field as well.
For sure. We try to do that with everyone, but certainly seeing it with women's soccer right now.
That's the Chief Compliance Officer Jody Sykes. Like Coach Lanning likes to say, sometimes you're just drinking out of a fire hose. In the best way, that was a lot of excellent, interesting, educational information. So
absolutely. Well, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
We'll get a break. We'll come back with some football interviews. Matt Ulmer's joining us later ahead of the first match of the season for Oregon volleyball. It's Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the Drug Facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the Drug Facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/Drug Facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and visit fda.gov/generic drugs. Generics are safe, effective, and can save you money. You'll like the sound of that.
Junior Adams, the co-offensive coordinator, the wide receivers coach, met with the media today. He talked about the growth of Troy Franklin, he talked about everybody in that room, a room that I'm personally excited about. I think you should be too. A lot of explosive athletes, and, well, Junior Adams is a really good coach. Here he is.
A couple of scrimmages under your belt, spring game too. How comfortable do you think you guys are in the new offense at this point?
I think we're comfortable. I think, like you said, going through spring ball, the summer workouts, the player-led practices, I think guys took really good leadership and teaching themselves the offense, and then obviously going through, I think today's day 16, day 17 at camp. We got a good, pretty understanding of what's going on.
Troy Franklin got a lot of praise from Lanning and Kenny. Just what have you seen from him this fall camp in terms of getting consistent?
Growth. You know what I mean? I think, like those guys in that room, they take advantage of coming in the meeting room every day, and treating it like it's a game. And we're putting them in situations to where, when they do get on the field, they know exactly what's happening. But Troy, he just stayed after practice today, got his catches in. He comes in early to meetings, and he's taking good notes, and he's attentive.
I think Chris has maybe had the most experience at Oregon from your group. Just your perspective on just his development and his impact of your group?
Chris, like you said, he's been here a while. I think the growth, I think he's maturing. It is. This is year 3 for him, I think it is. In understanding the system, Chris is doing a really good job. He's coming to work every day. He's staying after. He's catching the footballs. He's catching tennis balls in the room. He's coming in for extra time with Coach Lockett and, getting down the plays and the scheme, and he's doing a really good job.
What about Caleb's impact, and just what did you like about him to add him into your room this offseason?
Caleb, he's a vet, right? He's played a lot of college football. And, just being able to bring, that workman-like mentality to the room. In practice, he competes. He's a big body, and he's a joy to be around. He fits right in.
Coach Lanning has been using this comparison of going to the doctor and getting a prescription. After looking at that scrimmage, what are you prescribing to the team this week?
I thought last week was a good week. The best way to describe it was growth. You know what I mean? That we had to fight through some adversity. Practice got hard. we didn't have some of the, we had some ups and downs, some peaks and valleys with practice, but the good thing, like Coach Lanning says, going to doctor, these guys come back in the evening and they're ready to learn. They know what to expect.
I know you guys haven't specifically started thinking about Georgia a ton, but do you have a sense of just how eager your receiver group is for that challenge of going against the reigning national champions?
I mean, yeah, they're eager. We're all eager to get there, but we understand we're going to be where our feet are right now and be present, and just worry about us getting better at the moment.
Seven said that he's really starting to feel comfortable in that receiver role after kind of learning the position in spring and over the fall camp. What have you seen from him these past couple of weeks as he really starts to grow and utilize all of those skills that he has?
I think this, and I'm going to say it again, these guys come into work every day. They come into meetings. They come early. They put in the extra time. They know they can't just show up and play football, and no one can. They're all about putting in the extra work, and I think that's an attribute to why Seven's game is getting better, and he's improving and developing at the position of receiver.
Do you have a kind of number in your mind at this point of how many guys you want to rotate with this year?
No, I don't have a number right now. I mean, it's a good group, good deep group.
How different is that depth compared to spring junior? Where, I mean, you had 7 guys, now it's closer to 11, maybe even 12. Filling out a 2 deep at times is hard, depending on who's available in the spring compared to now you're 3 deep plus.
Yeah, again, it's competition, right? But the cool thing is all these guys, they get along, they're tight, they're a close-knit group, and they make each other better. So I don't have an exact number right now.
In the spring help just as slow, just get acclimated and all that.
Coming early, right? I mean, that's not easy in its own way, but coming early and getting here before the rest of the kids in his class, it's obviously helped him a lot.
How important was it to get Chase Cota, and what have you seen that maybe added that you weren't even expecting?
He's a leader. I mean, he's done it. He's a vet. He's a pro. It's funny because those guys in that room lean on Chase a lot because he has a lot of experience, and I think that's what he brings to the room. And he's a good dude, really good dude. He's a football guy. He's like the quarterback out there.
Going back through your career a bit, Junior, I don't think you've had to overhaul position quite as dramatically as this, at least not at this level, where you had to bring multiple transfers in, multiple young guys in one single offseason. What has this process been like for you? Where, like I said, in the spring it was a thinner group. Now you've got some guys where there's a lot more certainty, it would appear, in the depth chart by way of experience and things. You answered a lot of questions, but when you're overhauling a position group, what is that experience?
I wouldn't really say it was an overhaul, right? I mean, those guys in the room have, for the most part, the nucleus of the room has been there. So we just added a few pieces, and those guys, we added the right pieces. And I think that's the most important piece. We had the right pieces to where, it makes the connection a little bit easier. And that's one thing, Coach Lanning's been talking about, right? Is just this whole camp has been about, connectivity and growth and toughness, and these guys have, take a lot of ownership into that.
Seven was just telling us he played some offensive line in his younger years. Does he ever show off that kind of offensive line, warhead mentality at all?
7. O-line, he said that, really?
Yeah.
I need to see the film. The eye in the sky don't lie, right? I'm gonna ask him about that too when I get in there. But no, 7's doing good. Now he's tough, man. He's tough, and like I said, we talk about connection, toughness, and growth, and sacrifices, and he's really been tough throughout camp.
Kind of ask for someone that jumps to the 22 class. He's a young guy coming in here. What have you seen from him as he kind of acclimates to the college game this fall camp?
He's young, right? Every day is new, but from day 1 to I think day 16, day 17, you've seen the growth, you've seen it develop, and I'm excited to see what his future looks like.
Where's he started off for you, Junior? Is it X, Z? Where's his kind of?
All these guys kind of play all over. You know what I mean? So, we'll figure it out when the time comes. That's the best thing. We just throw the book at them and we teach them it, and we'll see where they fit.
Have you coached many guys who've reclassified like that? That's kind of unusual, right?
No, it's my first one. Yeah, it's my first one. So it's our first one. But no, it's pretty cool. That says a lot about who he is and the sacrifice he made. To skip his senior year and be able to come here and play, and get straight to college. That says a lot about who he is and and his family.
What did you see that you thought like, hey, yeah, you can do this. You can stay swimming and not sink?
The way when you get to know these kids, right? You get to know their background, you get to know their moms, their dad, the siblings, their home, and he comes from a good background, right? His dad played NFL football, and like his upbringing, man. Like I knew that he can come here and he wouldn't flinch, and he hasn't flinched since.
Kenny was giving Troy a lot of love for consistency. so far in camp?
He's been really consistent, yeah.
How do you define it? Is that consistent because no drops? Is that consistent because of the time he puts in? How do you define consistency?
He just so happens to be making a play every day. You know what I mean? He shows up every day. That's consistency, right? And but again, he had a good summer too, right? And that's what happens.
Has it been sort of a similar thing with Dante? I know we haven't had much of a chance to ask you about him.
Yeah, Dante's been doing it. He's been really good. Dante put in a lot of work this summer, and he's making plays. He made a few plays out there for us today. Dante is one of those guys that literally lives in the receiver room. Like, every time I'm coming in there, he's sitting at the computer and he's watching something. He's the guy the night before, a practice or a meeting the next day. He's the one that's texting the group like, "Hey, could we get the install for tomorrow?" He's one of those type of guys. So I enjoy being around Dante. He's a great kid.
Where Isaiah Brevard and Josh Delgado, just where are they kind of role-wise right now in your room?
Yeah, Josh is doing. Chachi is. I know we talked about, Troy being probably one of the most consistent guys, but I mean, right on his bumper is Josh Delgado, man. He's got a high football IQ. If there's a guy in the room that challenges me as a coach, that asks a lot of questions and a lot of good questions, it's Josh Delgado, and he's made a lot of plays this camp as well as Isaiah Brevard.
Coach Ulmer is with us. That was the wide receivers coach, the co-offensive coordinator, Junior Adams. We'll take a break, come back with the head coach of Oregon volleyball after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield. And we got a friend coming back.
Now's the time to visit your local Toyota dealer and find yourself in a stylish and fuel-saving RAV4, Corolla, or Camry. Or climb behind the wheel of the rugged Tundra, Tacoma, and more. Toyota's national sales event is on. Toyota, let's go places.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Now's the time to visit your local Toyota dealer and find yourself in a stylish and fuel-saving RAV4, Corolla, or Camry. Or climb behind the wheel of the rugged Tundra, Tacoma, and more. Toyota's national sales event is on. Toyota, let's go places.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Unused prescription opioid pain medicines can spell trouble. They can spell risk if taken by someone they weren't prescribed for, harm if accidentally taken by a child or pet, or overdose if they're not used as directed. Safely dispose of opioids before they can hurt your family. Find a drug take-back option such as medicine drop boxes. You may find these in your community at local pharmacies or police stations. Visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, back here at the Country Financial Studio, joined by the head coach of Oregon volleyball, Matt Ulmer.
Do you remember?
I remember it.
Let's go. Come on. Yep.
I remembered it.
You're a quick study.
Thank you.
That was excellent.
Appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Busy week, right?
Busy time. Yeah.
Match week.
All fun stuff.
Fun stuff. So I was scrolling on social media this week, and I saw a picture of you having a discussion, the Chalk Talk, with season ticket holders, and I was just struck. Ryan, can you roll these pictures here? I was just struck about how professional you look.
Oh.
Tell me about
I try not to do that very often.
The hand in the pocket with the gesture with the other hand, and the shirt's tucked in the hair's back as well.
Yeah.
You're natural on camera. Would you say? Would you agree?
Sometimes I have to, step
Look
my
at
game
that
up a
one.
little bit. Yeah. Black,
2 hands in front that time.
I hear black is slimming, but something about horizontal stripes. I don't know. So it's kind of, balances out. But, just so excited to be back with season ticket holders. And it's been really since 2019, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
So that was the first time we've had a Chalk Talk since then. And it's just great to connect and
professional words.
Yeah, no, connect. I try to be professional sometimes. Are you saying here I'm not? Is that what you're trying to say?
Shorts and a t-shirt today.
But I also
not
have
you do look good in the shorts,
socks with sandals also.
Socks and sandals. So what do you prefer? What's when you have a day off, do you tend to be more professional or a shorts and t-shirts
I like a
guy?
swimsuit,
Swimsuit.
Yeah, at the beach. Mm-hmm. That would be good.
So what's your beach?
Good weather. Maybe like 75 with a little breeze. That'd be good.
Mm-hmm. 75 a little breeze.
I think
surfer.
That's my
pick. Give me surfer vibes.
Horrible surfer.
Horrible, but you try.
Well, tall guy. I feel like low center of gravity would be better for surfing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've gotten up a couple times, but it's not pretty.
So volleyball does not translate to the ocean.
At least not my body type.
Okay.
So I'd have to work on a lot more.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I like I like dressing up. I like that too. But I also like being in the gym for practice. This is more of what I do. Mm-hmm. So I just ran over from practice. But I like to class it up a little bit when I can.
And you did for those season ticket holders.
Yeah.
So what was discussed in the Chalk Talk? A lot of catching up, I imagine, with some diehard volleyball fans. It's been a while.
Yeah,
like
catching up with the team, and again we had Veronica and Willow. Last time they were seniors last time we talked, so it was like, how are they doing? Taylor Borup, and now Abby and Kylie graduated too, so just where's everybody now and what are they up to, and things like that, and then where are we now, and what memories over the last 3 years, what stood out, what would you like to share, that kind of thing. So and then just questions about how the team is and all those things. So yeah, it was fun. It was a good energy. It was a full MAC club, so full room, and we had a good crowd, and everybody I think is pretty energized and jazzed up for this group.
Yeah, so that was just one part of the day. There was also the green-yellow scrimmage.
Yeah.
I imagine there were things you learned from the scrimmage. So I was talking with Jerry Allen yesterday because I was able to go to the football scrimmage.
I just saw him in the parking lot.
Did you?
Oh, love him.
What a great guy.
Right? Makes your day better.
Yes,
yeah.
one of the great guys in the business.
Yes.
But we were talking yesterday because we went to the football scrimmage, and the offense makes a play, and what do you take away? I was kind of confused, but as a head coach, you probably do have the ability to take something away from a scrimmage, whereas I would be confused. What did you take away from the green-yellow scrimmage on Saturday?
Yeah, it's hard because every point you win, you also lose, right? Your team is winning and losing every point. So, but what I took away is we made very few unforced errors on both sides, and that's exciting. And we played very aggressive, and I thought competitive really in all spots. And that's really unusual for this time of year. Normally it's a lot sloppier. And some people are playing, you don't have a set lineup, you don't have the subs in that would specialize in something, so it's everybody's doing everything. And so I thought I was very pleased. So, we need to just continue to fight for competition within our own team. And then when we get to play Long Beach State on Saturday, we're going to be competing against Long Beach State now as a group. So I'm proud of the group right now, what they're doing. And I thought, when some lights were on and some fans were there and it was more official, people stepped up and they really went hard. So I'm hopeful we just continue to see that throughout the season.
Yeah, what do you look for, though, at this point in the season? Because as with every sport, the team's going to look different at the end of the season, and that's kind of what you want. You want them to grow. But at this point in the season, what are you looking for? Maybe it's just that camaraderie, that ability to fight as a team.
Yeah, it's hard because right now I would say there's probably a lineup we could put out there that is more established, and so it would probably be sharper right now. But that might not be the best end result in November, December, because there's some other players that have like a higher ceiling, that could grow into that spot. So it's how much do you want to stick with someone that has the ability to grow? What's the right amount? How much do you want to go with? You need to be successful in the non-conference, so maybe that lineup that's going to get us there right now isn't going to be what it is mid-pack or in postseason. So trying to figure that out and just have a lot of different options, which I think we do because, again, everybody's really going for it, and it's a very talented group.
So there are some known quantities about this team, like you just alluded to. Last year, this team was known to be relentless defensively, one of the best defensive groups in the country.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to be a part of the identity this year? Do you want the team to expand that identity from there?
Yeah, it'll be a little different if we go with the 5-1 because, with just the one setter, because that block might not be as aggressive as where Gloria and Morgan on the right last time put up a really dominant block for 6 rotations. But then you could also maybe get maybe a better floor defender and right back. So it'll look a little different. So I'm not sure what our numbers will look like compared to that. That group was a little bit more defensive-minded just because of that lineup. So this group could be a little bit more offensive, and we hit like 250 last year, and I'd like to see us up to 280. I'd like to see us make that jump, and I think it's a group that could do that. So ball control is forming right now, even though you have pretty much all the same faces.
Yeah.
Pieces of passing and defense. It's just getting that touch back and doing it together. Especially when you add in like 1 or 2 new ones, it makes a difference with chemistry. So. I think that will only continue to get better, as we have more time together. But I'm hopeful to be a little bit more offense with the great defense that we've had.
That's what we're hoping for.
I hope so.
I have belief in you guys.
Thank
so
you. I do too.
First matches coming up this weekend in Portland, short road trip.
Yep.
What are you hoping to see from your team? What are the keys to success coming up this weekend at the Rose City Classic?
Yeah, I think if we could play similarly that we did.
Rose City Showdown. So sorry.
Yeah,
about
I thought
that.
It was fine. I had no offense taken.
Maybe I should be
the
naming
Classic to the Showdown. Yeah, Classic would be nice. That's not up to us. It was up to Portland State.
Okay, well.
But if you like yours better, then I think that's okay.
Maybe we can go with that one.
Yeah, it's fine.
Anyway,
I understood what you were saying. I think no one would have noticed.
I agree.
Yeah,
but
you called yourself out.
We're journalists.
Good. Yeah,
I'm
you're a
journalist.
perfectionist.
Perfectionist, journalist.
Are you?
You got to be
a perfectionist?
Not really.
Yeah, no. Okay.
I wouldn't be able to live up to it.
But you were right and wrong. So see, it's just like the green-yellow scrimmage. You did both.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Keys to the.
What are we talking about?
Keys to the weekend.
Yeah, weekend. No, I'd like to see just our competitive mindset that we just had, and how are we going to handle? You're going to have teams now that do things differently. We're so ingrained in playing ourselves right now. So the tendencies of the people on the other side. So what are you going to do when you play someone that does something completely different system-wise, or trying to figure out maybe some of their weaknesses, things that we can exploit? How well do we do with the game plan? How well do we handle the in between the ears of trying to figure out how to pick a team apart? So I think that will be interesting. That's our first time out doing that, especially if we have some new pieces. Communicating with them as a coaching staff, it'll be the first time. So I think just getting out there and let's compete and let's figure each other out a little bit better.
Absolutely. Everybody's looking forward to it. Coach Ulmer, I know for a fact fans look forward to your Tuesday interviews every single week. So thank you very much for being here.
For sure, more now that Joey's not here, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, somebody's got to carry the show,
That's
right?
true, yeah.
So.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. And, yeah, that's it. And you got to go the other way to leave, and which you knew, you were ready for it, and we're there.
Coach Ulmer, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
We'll get a break and wrap up here pretty soon on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Best interview yet.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The United States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and the largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. The USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal agencies with free safety equipment donations and officer survival training, along with cash donations to families of law enforcement officers who perish in the line of duty, college scholarships for the children of law enforcement, a citizen awareness program, and more. For more information on the USDSA and how you can help, visit usdeputy.org.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
Or your teen's music taste.
For dinners where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back here on Duck Insider, Jordan Brenner in the Country Financial Studio, brought to you by On Point Community Credit Union. We talked to Junior Adams earlier. He talked about some of the receivers in his receiver room, including Seven McGee, the offensive lineman. At least he said he used to play offensive line at one point in his career as position coach. Couldn't believe it. So now Seven gets to tell his side of the story.
This training camp obviously a lot different from years past for you. What's kind of been the biggest thing that you've learned, about your own game by yourself with the new position role?
Staying complacent. I'm saying, not trying to do too much, and just know my role for the team, and just understand what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and what the coaches are teaching me.
At this point, do you feel pretty comfortable in your position? You feel like you've really got a good grip on it?
Oh, yes, sir. Coach Adams and Coach Lockett are two hell of a coaches, and put me in the right places and right positions, and going through techniques and just understanding the details and really getting it done.
How excited are you about the offense and why?
I'm really excited. One main reason I'm really excited is because the roles, like I said, the roles and the role switching and just getting matchups and one-on-ones to, really utilize everyone's skills.
Is there an instance where your role switches from wide receiver to running back? Like, do you have any plays where you're in the backfield as well, like where you used to be?
Oh, yeah, we got quite a few, but we'll wait until we get to the season to see those.
What do you feel like your biggest asset is to the wide receiver group, and what separates you from the rest of the room?
I feel like just my competitiveness, but I feel like everybody in the receiver room has competitive, and we all teach each other. Like Chris, when I mess up, Chris tell me. When Chris messes up, I tell him. When Dante messes up, I tell Dante, and it's just one group together. Anybody in that group can do pretty much the same thing, but I feel like everyone has different skills, and Chris, and Chach, more of the faster type of roles as receivers.
What have you picked up from some of the other receivers to help you in your transition?
From Chris Hudson. I've been watching Chris since I've been in high school, Him at Bosco and him coming here a year earlier. I've always idolized Chris Hudson. Just the way he can move, just the way he can break down. He definitely have that NFL type of level breaks.
A couple weeks ago, you tweeted that staying at Oregon was the best decision you ever made. Can you elaborate on that a little bit and just what you've liked about this coaching staff this fall camp?
Staying here really just helped me as a person, as growing into a man, and Coach Lynn and the staff definitely helped me and develop growing myself. So I feel like staying here was definitely the best option. If I would have left, you never know what would have happened. So I'm just glad I stayed here.
Probably the dumbest question ever, but how does it feel wearing the number 7?
It feels good. I always wore the number 7. Besides being in Pop Warner, I wore 56, but I wore 56 as I played offensive line when I was younger. So. Yeah.
You played offensive line?
Yeah, I played offensive line. I was a little heavy set, a little chubby dude. I didn't play as much as I wanted to, but it was fun.
When did you finally kind of come into your own as a skill player?
I would say when I was probably like 12, I played defensive end, and then from defensive end I played running back around 13.
A couple of young guys like Justice, Kyler. What have you seen from this camp? How have they grown the most?
Kyler has a great deep ball and adjusting to the ball and going and getting it, and Justice had great routes. He reminded me of Chris.
Coach Lanning's been using this kind of comparison of going to the doctor after a scrimmage, getting a prescription and getting stuff fixed. What's something that the wide receivers needed to fix, and what's the prescription for it this week?
Just basically just going to the doctor for the receivers, is really just keying the ball. And watching the ball, not jumping off sides, and just knowing our details, knowing our depth, and then knowing when to break down, knowing coverages. So really just going and watching film over and over and over and getting details in.
I know you guys haven't specifically started game planning for Georgia, right? But can you just give us a sense of how eager this receiver room is? I mean, it's quite an opportunity going against the national champions week 1.
It's just, rankings don't matter, but when you're not ranked in the top 10 as a receiver group, kind of put a little chip on your shoulder. So just really looking forward to going and showcase our talents.
Can you kind of talk about what the team's conversation has been like around the fact that this is Dan's old team? Have you guys had that kind of, we want to do this for Coach?
Honestly, not really. He hasn't really brought that approach. He's more so just worried about us just focusing on day by day, 1% getting better.
This guy I'm excited to watch. Seven McGee, former offensive lineman, now skill position. And, you know, it's good to hear from both Junior Adams and Seven McGee just about the camaraderie in that room. The fact that everybody holds each other accountable. On that note, let's get to Troy Franklin, another receiver.
You're delivering pretty big, being consistent. All the things that you were looking for to do this offseason.
Wait, sorry, repeat that last one.
These are the things you were looking to do.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. You know, second year, you know, so I'm kind of, you know, definitely more comfortable, confident up, you know, so yeah, I've been trying to just do what I'm known to do.
I know you've put on a couple of pounds. Where are you at now?
Right now, this morning I'm waiting at like 182.
Is that basically where you said
exactly,
you
I want to be around playing weight 185, you know, so yeah, I'm doing good. Been doing good since the last time we talked, so.
Are you moving between different wide receiver positions? Are your guys stuck right now at one spot, or is there still moving people?
Right now, I mean, everybody's kind of, you know, just moving around. You know, everybody's trying to learn their positions, or like every position, you know, so everybody can be at a different spot. You know, so yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
Do you see yourself as one, or can you be any of it? I mean, do you see one in particular that you fit best with?
Well, I mean, my primary position is the X.
Right.
You know, I really like the X. I think it's like, you know, it fits me good, my play style well, you know, but I also like the A and the Z too. Those are some good positions too, so yeah.
How different is it even compared to spring when you have Chapman here and he's just another really big guy to have at the kind of the prototypical X?
You said how is it different?
Just, yeah, when you have a guy who's also, you know, the competition's a little different, the depth is a little different. You guys had like 7 guys in the spring, you have I think 11 or 12 now.
I think I don't think it's like something different, like in a bad way. If anything, it's like good. You know, we get to see like what he does. You know, what his strengths are and everything. You know, he's teaching us, we're teaching him. So yeah, it's definitely different in a good way for sure. Yeah.
Where have you grown other than physically the most, maybe this fall?
I would say just also, you know, like my mental game. You know, I'm just staying strong in the mental game. Like if I'm messing up on a play, flush it, get to the next one. You know. Being tired and stuff, you know, I'm trying to fight through all that stuff. So definitely being mentally stronger this time around is definitely a big thing for me that I've been working on.
How have you seen, I mean, obviously Dan's talked a little bit about it, but what's been your take on the quarterback competition, just how everybody's performed there?
I think they're all doing pretty good, you know, all 3 of them doing good. You know, they're putting the balls where we need them and everything, you know, making the right reads. And yeah, just doing their job, you know, so I think it's a good competition going on right now.
It's Troy Franklin meeting with the media today. It was a good show today. Educational. We brought on Jody Sykes, the Chief Compliance Officer. She joined us. By the way, wanted to get to this announcement real quick. Well, I'll get into it more tomorrow. But a brand new assistant coach for Kelly Graves and Oregon women's basketball. We'll get into that more tomorrow. You can read the write-up on GoDucks.com. For now, though, thanks to everybody who made this broadcast possible. Ryan Milano calling the shots again. Mitchell Lee back in the studio. Scott Phillips, as always. This is Jordan Brenner signing off. Talk to you tomorrow. Rob Mosley will join us. Go Ducks.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal,